Are you interested in sneaking into celebrity lives? You might imagine famous people as beautiful things, yet they're in reality, they engage in play with their animals, double dates, and people even engage in crimes like DY10 celebrities that have engaged in some of the most heinous offenses. 10 famous people who committed heinous offenses. The top 10 celebrities who committed very bad crimes. 10. Robert Downey Jr. Star possesses bottles that are drug addicts. Ever since he was a youngster and has been repeatedly detained for narcotics offenses. These charges include drug use and possession. Unsuccessful rehab stints in Leg 2. However, the actor was able to obtain his back on track with life after taking a much-needed break from the spotlight. He has achieved further success since then. 9. Chris Brown. Chris Brown, who debuted in 2009, Brown's detention for harboring violent thoughts of his ex-girlfriend, a talented singer. Rihanna made headlines all over the world. Images of the singer's horrific injuries that have been widely reported sources that showed. You most likely recall her as Brandy, but this R&B artist decided to give up on her career. When she didn't reduce her speed in the A4-way stop on a Californian motorway collision in which one woman died, Brandy wasn't hurt or in danger. The effects of alcohol or drugs, so she was never accused of murder. But the fatal collision led to harsh abuse, attacks, and stern public criticism. It's essentially ruining her career. 8. Will Smith. We have a shocking story port because you would never expect anything bad from such a great guy and talking about this man right here. Or Will Smith, he was a bad guy. Well, he was arrested for aggravated assault. Now this one went down back in 1989 when he was just 20 years old and just days after he and Jazzy Jeff won the first rap Grammy ever. So please report alleges that will request that his bodyguard attack record from over William Henrick. So the bodyguard ditches that any bird beat him. It was so bad that he was left as fractures to his left eye, and he went to the hospital where he needed to get stitches. This whole thing took place where Will Smith was born, that being Philadelphia Will was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, criminal conspiracy, simple attack, and recklessly endangering another person. The charges were later dropped, and Will Smith left Philadelphia for Los Angeles, where he filmed Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I suppose this was the one little fight. 7. Hugh Grant. We have British heartthrob. Hugh Grant, who is arrested for soliciting a prostitute while in Los Angeles to promote a movie. At the time, Hugh Grant was in a highly publicized relationship with Elizabeth Hurley. Still, Hugh decided to pull over his car on Sunset Boulevard late one night, and he invited a prostitute named Divine Brown into his car, Hugh Grant. Peter offered $60 for oral sex, and while this transaction was completed, a police got the windows of the car and caught him red-handed. He was charged for lewd conduct. Miraculously, the man was actually able to save his career. He flipped his life around and he continued to promote his film that he was in called 9 Months, and from there he became a success, moving out the heartthrob. 6. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. He was accused by a staggering amount of women accusing him of rape. Once upon a time, Bill Cosby was a comedian loved all over the world. You guys remember? The Cosby Show, it ran from 1984 to 1992, and it was a massive success, until just recently you can catch reruns of the show on TV and online. Well, now currently it's actually a hard time to find anything. Bill Cosby on TV or online, people aren't enjoying it because he's considered to be a rapist. I mean, listen to this, about 50 women have come forward telling people that he's raped them. When it's 50 different people, you have to tend to believe it. But for some reason, he stayed out of jail. A lot of these people are saying that Bill Cosby befriended them, drugged them, and forced them into sexual acts, and he would have sex with them as they were unconscious. The list of women's include many models, actresses, and members of the show business, which includes a lawyer, a Freshwell athlete, and these attacks banned formally for nearly 30 years. These allegations were dismissed, and Bill Cosby was never charged as any wrongdoings. But now with more than 50 women united, and the world looking for answers, hopefully soon we will have some. 5. Jay-Z. Now it's just halfway through a list we're talking with Jay-Z, and he comes into the number 5 spot. Now Jay-Z has rapped in the past about shooting his brother in the shoulder when he was a youngster, but his family kept this to themselves. As the young rapper, he was never charged. He also worked as a drug dealer in New York City, but he was also never busted. It was in 9 days prior to the launch of The Life and Times of Sean Carter Vol. 3, where he got himself into an altercation with record executive Lance Rivera. Jay-Z had himself to Vincent Lance, was responsible for bootlegging and leaking his album prior to its release date. When the two crossed paths in a nightclub in New York City, Jay-Z stopped him with the 5-inch blade in his midsection. Jay-Z was then charged with attempted murder, but there was a lack of evidence in the case. 4. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson. On June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown, LJ's ex-wife, and her friend Ronald Goldman were found murdered from multiple stab wounds and other injuries. Evidence pointed to OJ, and he was told to turn himself in, but instead he fled, which resulted in a highly publicized Ford Bronco chase through California. 95 million people tuned in alone in America. OJ's court case would become the next big TV drama and dragged out for nearly 17 months. In the end, he miraculously found his innocence, and this is on all charges, but he's currently behind bars today for another crime in 2008. O.J. Simpson was charged with armed robbery and kidnapping after attacking 2 sports memorabilia dealers and holding them at gunpoint in a Las Vegas hotel room. He will be eligible for parole in 2017, so by the time that happens, he's going to be built 70 years. Matthew Broderick. In number 3, we have Matthew Broderick. This guy right here, he has a lot of blood on his hands. Matthew was one of America's most beloved young stars, where he starred in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That movie will grow the top-grossing movies back in 1986. On set, he sparked up relationship with actress Jennifer Grey, who played the role of his evil sister. Following the release of the film, the two took a holiday Thailand together for some rest and relaxation, but this they offer. Ferris didn't go as well as the last, driving a rented BMW if Matthew accidentally drove the wrong way on the road. This is due to the fact that Ireland people drive on the other side of the road as opposed to his native land, America. He collided head-on with a Volvo, killing Anna Gallagher, 28 years old, and her mother Margaret Dorothy, who is 63 years old. Matthew and Jennifer, who were also in the car, had injuries of their own, but were very lucky to be alive. Matthew's reckless driving resulted in initially being charged with causing death by dangerous driving and to face up to 5 years in prison. But the charges were later reduced to a careless driving charge and a fine of $125. Wow, this guy must have really great lawyers. 2. Mike Tyson. Number 2. We're talking about Mike Tyson. He serves 3 out of 6-year sentence for rape charges. So the story about Mike Tyson is he learned of 18-year-old beauty pageant contestant named Desiree Washington into his hotel room, where according to her, he held her down and raped her. He was sentenced to 6 years. 1. Mark Wahlberg. He was 16 years old. He beated a middle-aged Vietnamese man, knocking him unconscious in the middle of the street using a wind stick. He also attacked a different Vietnamese man on the same day and blinded him in one eye with the metal hood. The last attack was the straw that broke the camel's back, and Mark Wahlberg spent 45 days in jail, and this is not a 2-year sentence in an adult facility, which thankfully for him staring up straight into the success. Celebrities are a bunch of imperfect souls hiding under the facade of fame, even though they succeed at making us believe what they want us to think. Some secrets are eventually uncovered. These 10 celebrities committed horrible crimes. Are you surprised with these incredible lust of celebrities? Are you astonished to know the most fan-based celebrities marked in police records for criminal offenses? Is there any celebrity you admired until you heard a scandal about them? If you feel the content is interesting, stay tuned to know more facts and life stories regarding celebrities.